Hello there everybody, how's it going? It's Jessie from Jessie Marie Does Stuff here on FlossTube. I'm coming to you on this Thursday, October 15th, 2020 with my next update video. So about 2 weeks since my last update posted. It went up a little bit later because that was a big one. So first off, welcome. If you are a new viewer, then thank you so much for coming to check me out. I hope that you happen to like what you see here and you find reason to subscribe, come back again in the future. If you're returning, then as always, thank you for coming back video to video. You guys are why I do this. This is a channel that is mostly about cross stitch. That's primarily the bulk of what I have to show you today. But there's also a bunch of other things. Today I've got some stash and plenty of knitting and even a touch of diamond painting. And then sometimes I'll talk about books, but that hasn't happened in a while. So that's what you can kind of expect today. So yeah, last video, I gotta stop saying last week. It was quite a doozy. And so thanks for anybody who sat through the whole thing. I felt really rusty. While I was going through the editing process, I was just like, I don't sound like myself in this video, but hey, that's the only way to get over it being a while is to just film. So anyway, we are back here again with another update. I don't have a whole lot of preamble-y things to talk about, so I guess that we'll just kind of go ahead and jump right in and we'll start talking about some projects, some things that I have worked on over the last couple of weeks. When last we spoke, I was working on In This Moment. I'm actually going to show you that here in a little bit. It makes a little bit more sense because I think I've worked on it a few times, like in different stitchy sessions since the end of September. So we'll get to that here in a little bit. So let's dive right in with some dark October stitching. I love me some October. I love dark October stitching, and I was so excited come October 1st. I even got a little bit of rain on October 1st. So like I was feeling the whole fall mood. It was great. October 1st was our first full moon of this October. And it was a harvest moon. And so I wanted to have a new start to not only kick off dark October stitching, but also to commemorate the moon bit. And so I started this here. This is the Lunar Witch by Autumn Lean Stitchery. When I started this was their most recent release, but since then they have released a new witchy design that I'm also gonna need. Potions and Spells, I think is what it's called, and it's basically like a levitating witch with more purples and teals. Yep, I'm gonna need that. But I started with this one. And I love this too. Like this is great. I'm very excited about this project. So I started this on October 1st and I worked on it for October 1st and I ended up working on it a little bit into October 2nd as well because my start wasn't much and I like a little bit more of a start than what I was able to do that first day. So let's see here. The fabric that I chose is a 32 count Belfast in Purple Pansies from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Stephanie, which makes you think very springy, but these purples and kind of, I don't know, scummy greens gives me a very witchy vibe, so I thought it was appropriate. And so here's the meager start that I got. Just about a little over 500 stitches, I think, total, in essentially 2 half-day stitching. So, not bad. I wanted to be sure to get down and get in some black because in October we stitch black. And yeah, so I made sure to get down to the top of the gate. Here, let me pull this up. Just going to point this out to you at the top of the gate here. The trees are done in a controversial color. It's DMC 09, which is gorgeous. I think it's a beautiful shade. It's one of those colors that sometimes looks purple and sometimes looks brown and sometimes looks like neither. It's very cool. Anyway, I really like this. This is something that if I put some good time into it, it would stitch up fast. Famous last words. But it's blacks of color, and those go fairly quickly. So, plans today, I'm going to kind of intersperse. I think that I'm going to try to work on this on Halloween Eve and Halloween again, because on Halloween we have our second full moon of the month, which makes it a full moon, or which makes it a blue moon. That's on Halloween. So a little bit more lunar reference there. So I think she's coming back out at the end of the month. Autumn Line Stitchery designs are so great. They are so awesome. I wish that they worked in Pattern Keeper, but all of that aside, this only uses 8 colors, and so I thought that I would put it on a little thread organizer thing here. So just thought I'd try that. Okay, so then, let's see. After Lunar Witch, it was the weekend, and I've decided that I'm going to do HAED weekends. As much as I would like to just put my HAED aside and just focus on Dark October stitching this month, I really want to work on in this moment. I want to stay up to date on that, or get up to date, because I'm not quite. I'm still running behind. So I worked on in this moment over the weekend, and then that following Monday, I think, I pulled out my big focus for the month of October. So back to some Dark October stitching. We have the Witches of Salem by the Primitive Hare. This gorgeous, gorgeous design. And my plan was to work on this project, and I was thinking I could get the finish. I don't think so anymore. This is a lot of stitching, a whole lot more than I really gave it credit for. So in my before and afters, you will see where I started from, but basically I had like the whole bottom half of the figure here left to do, the bottom of the tree, this date plate, and then basically from the Tombstone Angel down the list of names of those accused, convicted, and killed. And then there's also this this little border here. You can't see it because of the styling for this photo that Isabel did, but that border runs along the bottom. So there's just a ton of stitching. It's a ton. And I think I, as per usual, grossly underestimated how long I think it was going to take. So this is on a 28 count Moran linen from Extra Designs. Moran is not a Zweigart base. I've described it in the past as kind of a cross between a Zweigart feel of a 28 count cashel linen and a Witchelt 28 count. So it's not cardboard, but it's also not as pliable as a regular 28 count, or cashel. So here's where I got to. I am not doing this in the called for colors. She calls for a mix of a few hand-dyeds, I think a couple of Gast and a couple of Classic Colorworks, and then a few DMC, and mine's all different. It's all very different. The fabric color is Gold Sand, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that, which is something that she dyes across all of the bases, like not just this one. So let me bring it in close so that you can see what I accomplished this time. And you will notice that my accused looks very different than what she's supposed to, because I changed the colors all up. So I thought that since I'm picking basically my own colors for this, that I would do her dress in my favorite Gentle Arts thread. It's very moody color, and so I thought it would fit the theme, so to speak. So that is Gentle Arts Forest Glade. And I knew that it had great contrast with this color here, which is Gentle Arts Toasted Barley, which I find myself falling in love with. It's such a boring color, but I don't know, I'm kind of in love with it. So I know that it contrasts really well with that, but I didn't expect the contrast to sort of fall compared to the barnwood that I used for her skirts. But to be honest, you guys are seeing a good enough contrast here on camera, and I'm not changing it. And I think it looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Plus, I mean, in the original, there's not a whole lot of contrast there anyway. So, well, there's less contrast in this here than in mine. But anyway, I'm a fan. I'm digging how it's coming together. My threads are kind of all over the place, and it's an ever-evolving list of things. I am constantly pulling different options for various things. So I got to this point, and I really wanted to get the tree down to under her feet done at the very least before I put it away. But I had checked out. Like, I was stitching really slowly, and I just mentally checked out of this project. So that's part of the reason why I just don't think it's going to happen this month. I'm starting to feel the pull of it again. So maybe next week, but we'll see. I'm just not going to push really hard to try to finish it when I could work on some other Dark October things. So that is that. Oh, and I brought my threads here just so that y'all could see just the mess of kind of drab and dreary colors that I've got, which appropriate and also makes me happy. I have some threads in here that I have no idea what I pulled them for, like what I planned on using them for, but anyway, so those are my threads. So I think now's a good time to talk about it in this moment. I'm going to insert a preview here of what this will look like finished. This is In This Moment by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artwork is by Jeremiah Ketner. I lost my cover sheet. I don't know where it went. It's probably exactly where I left it, over there next to my stitchy spot, but anyway. So when last I showed this, I think that I was in the back half of page 25? No, 31. I don't know. So in the last couple of weeks, I've had a page finish, and then I got started on page 37, which is at the bottom row of the design. So, and it's kind of nice to be able to show you this off the frame for once. It's been a while since I was able to do that, I think. So this is where I am up to currently. Mostly in frame, kind of, I think. The fabric here is a 25 count cream Lugana, and I'm stitching this 1/1 full cross. There we go. That works. So 31, page 31 is what that was. And so as you can see, I have since finished page 31, and oh my goodness, how good does that look? How cool is that swan's features? I'm such a huge fan of the way this is coming together. I absolutely would have carried the beak to finishing it because it still keeps going here for a little bit, but I ran out of thread on both of those primary colors of his beak. Oh, he's so cool. Yeah. This page was a lot of fun to stitch. And then down here you can see just the barest petal of the lotus. There's kind of like a funny little wave back behind the lotus here. And then I got started on page 37. And for whatever reason, I truly do not understand why, but these bottom pages stall me completely. Here I was working on this page and like wondering if I was going to be able to take this project off the frame. Seriously contemplating just keeping going. Not only to catch up with my path to 100,000, but just to keep going because I was enjoying it so much. And then I started this page, and almost immediately I was like, I think I'm done. I think I'm done. So I got in, I think, 1,700 stitches on that page there, and had to take it off the frame, which is good because it means that I don't burn myself out too early in the month when I'm trying to get 9,500 stitches in this month. So anyway, so that's where I stopped there. I think that I'm going to get back to this weekend to try to get that page finished. I think I have 2,200 stitches left of the page, give or take, and so I'll try to get that done. And then, believe it or not, I only have 3 pages left of what I need in order to hit 100,000 this year. Just 3, actually 2.5. I'm currently up to 78,000 stitches, I think, which is pretty cool. So this 2/3 page and then 2 more, and then I'll be done for the year. Is it going to happen early? I doubt it. But nonetheless, we're nearing the finish line on this year and on this big goal. So anyway, so that is my in this moment. And yeah, I love her. I love her. My plan for last week was actually to work on Witches of Salem through Friday. And then I was going to work on In This Moment Saturday, Sunday, Monday, with Tuesday being the 13th. It's kind of a dark 13, dark October stitching special. And so I kind of wanted to time it out like that. Well, I was feeling done with Witches of Salem as of Wednesday. And so since then, and maybe moving forward, I've been feeling very SWYWWYW, or stitch what you want when you want. And so I posted a poll to Instagram stories and sort of gave y'all 2 options for what you thought I should work on next. And I also asked Danny, and the consensus was the same for both, and it was Poison Garden, which I'm a-okay with. So I ended up not stitching last Friday. I worked on In This Moment for the 3 days, and for Dark 13 stitching, and Dark October stitching, and also, because why not, let's hashtag the heck out of this, it was the Joy-Filled Birthday Sal, where Annie basically said, work on something that brings you joy. And a Chatelaine absolutely does that for me. So I've been working on this for the last couple of days, and yeah, I love this. I haven't worked on this since the beginning of the year, and it's just been a lot of fun. So I'm going to show you the progress here and hope that you can see. Probably not. Okay, that's better. So this is the progress that I have made. I'm not going to do before and afters on this because it's in the details with this one. But what I did do is when I stopped stitching this morning before getting set to film here, I filmed a little close-up clip just so that you guys can see the details, because I cannot possibly bring this in close enough for you to be able to see it here on camera, and I would really like to show you some of the fun stuff with this. Before I do though, this is on a 28 count cashel linen, so this is a Zweigart base, and it's just antique white. It was the called for fabric. If I had had my druthers, I probably would have done it on like a pale green. Not necessarily hand-dyed, but like a Zweigart, just generic pale green. If I had known better, that's probably what I would have done. But I still like the way that it's looking on this. The contrast is pretty lovely. And I'm using all of the kit materials. I received the kit as a gift from basically my husband and his side of the family a couple years ago for Christmas. So, okay, let me go ahead and insert those clips, or that clip, so that you can see some close-ups of what I did over the last couple of days. Hey everybody, how's it going? So, as I just explained, I thought that I would do some better close-ups of my progress thus far on Poison Garden or Hortus Venenum, because you really just can't see it when I'm showing it on video. So I thought that I would bring you in a little bit closer. So what I have worked on so far this time, you see this corner motif here? Just the outer edge of that. When I first picked this up this week, I had the eyelets here, as well as the base crosses for the rice stitches, which is in that same metallic silver color, for one of the corners, and then the other three did not have that at all. So the first thing I did was I did the eyelets. Let's see if you can see those a little bit better. Yep, there we go. So I did the eyelets, which are on both sides of what Martina calls the pyramids. And then the base crosses for the rice stitches. And then I finished out the rice stitches. Rice stitches are funny. They're super, super easy. But there's 3 colors in there. There's 3 different threads in there. And so you can't even really see the base cross anymore. And then the sort of crossing legs are done in a petite silk lame. And then there's even... Let's see if I can bring you in close. Yeah, there we go. There's like a tacking cross in that yellow-green color on top of that. So yeah, it looks way complicated, but it's so easy to do. I love rice stitches, but like you're just never gonna see the silver anymore. So it feels kind of silly having done that. But anyway, so I did finish up the rice stitches on each of the corners, and then this sort of wavy curls back stitch I did around all 4 corners, and that kind of finished up this section, this sort of round, you might say, until I do beads, because all of this empty fabric space, beads, just beads. Lots and lots of beads on this one, which you know makes me happy. So that kind of finished that up. And then I today came out and got started on the next round. So this is going to have a couple, like I want to say 45 more rice stitches, bigger ones this time. And so you might be able to see the foundation cross for those ones. But that's further on down the line. I'm doing the cross stitch portions first. And so zoomed all the way back out. So I did the Karen Water Lilies. I think that was Morning Mist is the name of the colorway there. Not that it really matters for this purpose, but I did that all around the outside except the bottom, because I can barely get to the bottom. With where my frame sits, you can kind of see I have to like peek over the edge and really try to get those stitches. So I just made sure that I counted down so that I have it placed correctly, but I'm gonna have to do that bottom row later because I can't quite get there. It's just barely in the wrong spot. Ugh, that's frustrating, but not a big deal. And then I got started on the inner border that goes all the way around in, oh yeah, bring it in close so you can see the sparkle. It's a petite silk lame braid in a super deep dark blue. I believe it's called Mood Indigo, which I don't know, I love that. So that's what I've done so far. It works out to like a little over 1,000 stitches, believe it or not. Yeah, adds up pretty quick like. So I think that's it, and I will get you back to the other video. I'm also inserting some pictures here so that you guys can see sort of the progression of how a rice stitch builds up. Some close-up pictures of that. I just thought that it was kind of interesting to see, especially a rice stitch in multiple colors, like these ones are. So that is my Poison Garden, and I am loving this project. I am absolutely loving it, to the point that it's got me rethinking how I choose what I work on. So I have this project on my WIPGO board, and my goal for it is just 10 days progress. And today makes day 8, I believe, because I think I worked on it for a 5-day rotation back at the beginning of the year. So today makes day 8, and that's not really enough for me. So like I said, I'm feeling very SWYWWY these days, and I'm sort of thinking more and more about this idea of being a progress stitcher. And so I think that I may be trimming down my active list of WIPs that I'm working to about 7. So I know that I've talked over the last couple of years where I work on basically one project from each designer, and that right now, as it stands, is up to 43. I have a lot of unique designers, a lot more than I used to, and I think that with my upcoming limited stitching time and this idea of wanting to see significant progress while working on something, as well as feeling less and less and less committed to these stitching prompts and stitching challenges that I have participated in over the last couple of years, it just makes sense to me to have an even smaller sort of honed in list. So I don't know exactly what that means in the future. I'm sort of toying with some ideas, such as, and this is going to sound extremely oxymoronic, but a SWYWWY rotation. But I guess more concrete thoughts on that to come. Nothing really substantial to talk about right now. As far as plans are concerned, I'm going to run through this real fast. I'm not even going to make a separate segment about it. I've got Poison Garden currently. Saturday, we are having a game day / painting day. Trying to get the house ready, and the outside needs some paint. And so we're going to have a game day. My brother-in-law's coming over, and I want to get the page finished on in this moment. I want to put this bottom row page in my rear view. So I think I'm going to work on in this moment this weekend, maybe, unless Poison Garden is like, no, I'm going to be taking more of your time, thank you. And then next week, I'm really feeling some Mirabilia stitching, so it may be Raven Queen next week, sticking with Dark October, because I love that, but also sort of meeting this want. It may be more Poison Garden, it may be Wishes of Salem, it may be something else entirely, who knows. How's that for a cliffhanger? Come back next time. So yeah, I'm feeling SWYWWY, and that usually doesn't mean much for plans. So, hey. Anyway, all right, let's continue on and let's switch over and talk about some stash. I've got a few things here. I haven't mentioned it, but I tried to film last week and I had no stash to show you. And now I do, which is fun, always fun. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to show you is NSFW, Not Safe for Work. It's super adorable, but she's nude. So this is Bookshelf by Lena Lawson, Needle Arts. Artwork by Pascal. Nope, I'm not going to mispronounce that. But it's a fairy hanging out on a spider web in between some books of I don't know, wings, fairy, this cool spider. I thought this was really cool. Will it be incredibly boring to stitch? Yes. There are 7 colors and they are all shades of gray. But I think she's really cute. And so I picked this up on Stash Unload. So there's that. Okay, just a couple of the month things. I have my nest egg that I get from Trisha at 3L Threads. Things got tied up here. I do 5 yard skeins of Gentle Art sampler threads, and I'm not going to go through these individually because I know a few already have, but yeah, some gorgeous shades here. Just some really pretty colors. I love Harvest Moon. This one here up front. Yep. So that is fun. From what I understand, she's not currently accepting people to her nest egg. I think it has mostly to do with the supply of these hand-dyed threads right now. It's a little tough right now. But I'll let you guys know if I hear anything about that changing. Up next is a small order from Abby at Top Knot Stitcher. I wasn't planning on placing an order, but she got some needle minders back in stock that the first run of them, I kicked myself because I was too slow on the purchase and I missed out. So she did these crowned birds, and of course I fell in love with the blackbird. And so she had more in stock, and so I ran over there and grabbed him up. But one little needle minder can't travel alone. And this is a chart that has been just, for whatever reason, I can't get out of my head. This is a fairly new release from Waxing Moon Bittersweet Trio, and it's this one down here that I think I have to stitch. I think I have to stitch all of these, but this one I can't get out of my head. So when I saw that she had these, I thought, oh, okay, well, that's a good traveling companion. So I picked those up. And then over the weekend, I got all of the color and cotton goodness. So let's go through these threads individually because it's fun. And because I never get to do this in a timely manner. But these just arrived. So this is the all colors. And let's see, we have rose gold, which I know is a repeat. It's one of my favorite colors. Gorgeous. Old moss. That's showing up more blue-gray. It is blue-gray, but it's kind of got a green tone to it that you guys are catching more gray, I think. Russet. I think this is going to be one of those challenging colors. Yeah. It's a little bit deeper than that, a little bit more rich. I'm going to stop showing these individually because I keep saying that they're wrong. Oh, look, more barnwood, which is what I'm using in Witches of Salem. And then this is the neutrals pack. So they both are kind of leaning pretty neutral, which I am mad at. Definitely not mad at. I love this color, Midnight. Red Fox. What is this, orange? Terracotta. That is Happy. It's a burnt orange if I ever saw one. Primitive Vines. Oh, this was also a favorite. I love that she's going through colors again. That makes me very happy. And Wild Oats, another one that's a repeat. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Stocking up multiple skeins of colors makes them a heck of a lot easier to sub in. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Love color and cotton. And then also my fabric of the month came in. So I am in the color and cotton fabric of the month. I'm on a bi-monthly, so I get one every other month. And I am doing a 40 count Newcastle linen fat quarter. And this is Prairie Dust. And it is a grayish, leaning more gray. I mean, is it just not, it's just gorgeous. Angela can do no wrong. She could sell me as 2 grazes back to back. I wouldn't know the difference, and I'd be in love with them. Yeah, this is stunning. It's a little bit darker than what you're seeing there. Up there next to my matte white walls. Yeah. So gorgeous. Yeah. Ugh, love that. So I'm feeling pretty content with that. My stash buying has trickled down to almost nothing these days. So it makes me happy getting some stuff in the mail. That's fun. We are cruising right along here. So that's it as far as the cross-stitch content is concerned. So if that's all you're here for, then I will see you next time. But up next we've got a little bit of diamond painting, because I've done some of that, and then a fair bit of knitting to talk about. So settle in if you are into that stuff. So we're going to start off with diamond painting. This is completely unexpected. I got this diamond painting kit about a year ago, I think, and worked on it pretty furiously for a couple of days, and then realized that it's just not for me. Part of that has to do with the design that I have. It's pixelated and it's amorphous, and it's not turning out as pretty as I had expected it to, and so I put it away, and it sat for about a year. So I'm participating in this group, the Crystal Academy, which is kind of like magical school. So we are separated into dorms, and you're welcome to join the group. You can't join one of the dorms currently because we are in the middle of a term that ends in December. But then they're going to reshuffle the dorms, and you'll be able to join then. You can still participate as what they call a commuter, and there's all sorts of different things that are going on with that. So if this is something that you may be into, I will link it in the description box below. This group not only allows, but it encourages other crafts and other hobbies. For instance, one week I had to do some knitting. My dorm needed somebody who could knit, and so I did some knitting. And for another task, we needed to do beads or diamond painting, and none of my beaded projects are at the stage where I can do some beads. So I pulled out my diamond painting, and it went well. I really enjoyed it. So let me show you what this will look like finished. So that is the design there. Just a kind of a sunrise in a field. Kind of abstract, but pretty. And I got a fairly large size. I mean, 60 by 40 is not tiny. But anyway, so. And I think I ordered this, yeah, Paint with Diamonds is where I got it from. So here is where I'm up to. And I'm going to insert before and afters on this one because I'm working this in diagonals, and so it's a little bit hard to sort of point to you and show you what I have done this time. But I did, I think, about 1,500 drills over the course of a few days, and I work on it a little bit every morning. I have my breakfast, and I sit and diamond paint a couple of colors in the 10, we'll call it stitch wide diagonal that I'm working. And I've got some that are coming a little bit loose here, so I gotta be careful. The problem is the way that I stored it for a year, it's really not how you're supposed to store these. It was folded up. And yeah, it's sort of messed up the sticky substance a little bit. So you can see right there is where one of those creases was, and yeah, so it's kind of affecting the ability of the diamonds to stick, or the drills. So yeah, like it's really pixelated, but I think that it's going to be a scenario of if you're standing back, you can tell what it's supposed to look like. and it needs everything else in order for instance, this blue tree here, I need that to fade into the background real bad because I really hate the way that looks. So yeah, so kind of interesting. Just a little bit of a journey into something else because I've got all the time in the world, right? No, I don't. Anyway, so there is my diamond painting. And here I go, folding it up again. When I get progress on this, I'll show you guys over time. One thing I wanted to talk about with diamond painting, I see it popping up a little bit more recently. And so I wanted to show you guys how I organize my drills. If I can find the listing again, I think I got these on Amazon, I think. And so my drills are in these guys here. So when you get the drills in one of these kits, they come in these little baggies and they're not resealable and they're awful. And so I needed something. So I got these, and I think it came with 10 in a pack, I want to say. I think I've got a stack more of them available to me for future diamond painting projects. But anyway, so it's about 10 of these. They're kind of like photo boxes, and then snap sound. Inside are these guys. So they're separated into 4 container segments. They kind of make me think of like those daily pill boxes. And so they're done up like that. And then each one can open individually, which is really important because I am a klutz. I spill them more often than I care to admit. So each one opens individually, and it's a fairly easy snap. And these labels are just like little Avery labels I think I found at a craft store. So that's what I use. Fairly affordable, and I think I could fit up to 2 of the baggies from this kit into each of these. So just thought I would share that. I know that I talked about these before, but with more people kind of dipping their toe into some diamond painting lately, I thought I'd go over it again, just in case you were looking for storage solution. This might also work for Mill Hill beads or delicas. I don't know how many would fit into each of these, but something to consider. I love my bead box, but this might be more affordable than the bead boxes are. So that's it for the diamond painting. Let's talk about some knitting, and I've got fun stuff in knitting. So the first thing we're going to talk about is a finish. I haven't even posted this on Instagram yet, so you guys are getting kind of a first look at my finished kitty invisibility cloak. So this is what I was working on the last time I filmed. I think I had 20 rows left of the lace panel, if I'm not mistaken, and I finished this about a week ago. And that's the back. So let me see if I can do this the right way. Edge to edge. It's like a big parallelogram. So there, and then the lace panel. Oh, how cool is this, you guys? I'm so thrilled. It's not blocked. The ends aren't woven in yet. My nail just caught on a fiber and pulled it. That's awesome. Not a big deal. I haven't even taken out this is the front side marker yet. I probably should do that. But anyway. So, real quickly here are the yarns that I used. The speckle over here on the garter stitch section is Hedgehog Fibres Sock. It is a fingering weight 90% superwash merino, 10% nylon in the colorway Monarch. gorgeous speckles through that one. And then the semi-solid over here is Malabrigo Sock, which is 100% superwash merino in the colorway Ochre. And this is a design by Casapinka. Oh, I am so thrilled. I cannot wait to get this blocked. Mine ended up being fairly close to 900 yards because what I wanted to do was use up every inch that I possibly could of the Monarch. And then I knew that no matter what, I was going to have enough of the Ochre to finish out the lace panel if necessary. So let me show you my leftovers. So here is my hedgehog leftovers. Cute little pile. I probably could have got one. I probably could have got 2 more rows or another row in the bind off out of that, but I was playing yarn chicken and I was afraid. So that's what I have left over of that. The Ochre. It's snagged again. Okay. To you newbie knitters, don't do what I did. Just don't do what I did. So I showed you guys the cake last time, and it was getting pretty tight, but I thought I had enough. And then I knit a few rows, and I was like, I do not have enough. I do not have enough yarn here, and I was a little bit worried. At first, I was thinking I was going to have to order another skein and pray that the dye lots matched up. But I knew that I could. My favorite yarn shop, Eat Sleep Knit, they have them in stock, so it wasn't a big deal. It wouldn't have been a big deal. So I kept going. And then it was getting really dire, and I had 4 or 5 rows left, and I remembered last time I was wearing my ochre shawl, my Ashburn shawl, which also had ochre in it. And thanks to some detailed notes, I found out that I didn't use up my whole skein of ochre in that shawl. I knit that to pattern rather than doing something like this. So I knew that I had some, and so I tracked it down, and I had another sad cake left over. But that's okay because it meant that I had enough to finish this. But I decided to be brave. I don't know why. And I played yarn chicken like you would not believe. How close did I get? So I ran out of my other skein here in the bind off. I had 30 stitches left to bind off. New knitters, don't do this. Don't add in a new skein in the midst of your bind off. It's dangerous. I don't think it's going to unravel. I think that I did it tight enough that it's not going to undo itself, but I'm just going to have to be very careful with that section. And it makes the bind off just a tiny bit thicker here because I used 2 strands to do that bind off just to lock in the new skein. But that's okay, that's not a big deal. And then I finished off. So I used, I don't know, maybe a yard. Maybe a yard out of this to finish this. Ugh, so silly. And I know where I could have got that yard from. I had a knot in the old skein, and so I had to cut and then rejoin the skein back here. So if I didn't have that knot, I probably would have been able to get through the whole thing. But anyway. So Casapinka wrote this, and she basically says in there, you can keep going until the end, or you can stop a few rows early, stop the lace repeats a few rows early, and do a bit of a garter stitch, a couple rows of garter stitch along the top. But that's just sort of up to you. And so the math on mine just happened to work out perfectly that I could knit exactly 1 more repeat. and then bind off. And so that's what I decided to do. Only now I'm kicking myself, and I wish that I had done the garter stitch, because you can see it wants to roll really bad. I should have gone up a needle size or two for the bind off, just to make it a little bit, to make it not so tight. I should have done a looser bind off. I mean, there are so many things that I could have done, but I was being stubborn about my yarn. So I'm gonna have to block it, and hopefully that will help. It's certainly not going to cure the want for this edge to roll, but it will help, hopefully, with the severity of it. And I do plan on blocking it because we've got some lace going on here. So anyway, I am so thrilled. It's my first finished object in knitting this year, which is a little crazy, but that's the way it goes when you don't knit for most of the year. Huge shout out here to FlossTube for inspiring me to get back to it. I'm so excited, and I'm so excited with how deep it is. It's going to be so warm and cozy. So hopefully I can get it blocked before my next video, and I can wear it next time. So that is that. And I am still linking to Ravelry for now. Let me address this here real quick. For now, I am still linking to Ravelry. If I can find these patterns elsewhere, then I absolutely will link to those other locations. Apparently, Ravelry currently has a toggle where you can go back to Classic Rav, which is great because it means that people aren't suffering for using the website. But apparently that's going away as of the end of March next year. So I hope that they have a plan for that, so that the site can remain accessible. But until that is answered, I'm going to link to the Ravelry page if you can safely use Ravelry without hurting yourself. And I will try to find these things elsewhere, so that you can access them there as well. So just thought that I would mention that. I don't think that I did that in my last video, but I am absolutely doing that moving forward. So that is my Ravelry talk. Okay, so you know that roughly 45 seconds after I finished binding off Kitty Invisibility, I wanted to cast on something else. What I should have done was pick up another whip and sort of blaze through that like I did with Kitty Invisibility. But did I do that? No. I went with what I wanted, and that was a new cast on. I wish that I was a garment knitter. I wish that I was a sock knitter. I wish that I was somebody who knit kind of across the board. But my reality is that I just like knitting shawls. It's my favorite thing. So I cast on a new shawl. And I decided to cast on something that I'm just super duper excited about. So this is a design by Romi Hill. And I believe her design label is Designs by Romi. Yeah. So she used to have on Ravelry, and then it became a class on Craftsy. And then she got it back and re-released it on Ravelry a few weeks ago. And when I saw that she had re-released it, I beelined it for Rav and got the pattern, and knew almost immediately what I wanted to do for this. Enough build-up. This is the High Sierra shawl, and this is a black and white picture, but that part's not really all that important. You don't really need to see the colors with this, because it essentially, you have a main body color, and then you have 5 other colors that can be in a gradient, but don't have to be. And so what you get is something that kind of ends up looking like a mountain range. Upside down though. So let me show show you, let's do this version. This is not really secret sauce. So this just kind of shows you how it kind of looks like mountains, like kind of offset of each other. How cool. This is so cool. And the way that this is being constructed is totally and completely new to me. It's just very different, and it's a little bit more mind intensive than I think some of the other things that I have worked on recently. So it's ticking all of those boxes for me, and I am digging it. So I knew immediately the colorway that I wanted to go with, and it is kind of this. So I know it looks a little obscure. Okay, so this one plus the 3 skeined up ones in here are from Woolly Wonka Fiber, which is the yarn company, the yarn dyeing of Anne from Fiber Floss and Fiction here on YouTube. And this is one of her transitional sets. Basically what you get is 400 yards, or enough to do a pair of socks in 4 stripes. So you could split these little skeins in half and knit a pair of matching socks in a transitional colorway. And the colorway for the whole set is called Chawton Cottage. But I need 5 colors for this, and so I added in lettuce from Malabrigo Sock. So from my Ashburn shawl that I showed you last time, this is my leftovers of that. So that's my sort of where I started from with trying to pick my colors with this. And then I needed a main body color, and I knew that I needed a significant amount. So it's Malabrigo Sock, and this is either Oscuro, which I think it is because it's leaning pretty red, or it's Cordovan, which is also like a dark chocolatey color. But this one's got some red tones to it, so this may be Oscuro. Either way, I plan on using Cordovan because I have 3 skeins of it, and so that's plenty enough for the body color. And so I thought that would just be a really great sort of pairing, chocolatey browns with these just gorgeous colors. So I am hiking the Sierra Nevadas in flip-flops, aka I am totally unprepared. I really should not be allowed to start anything these days because I just go for it, and then I don't know why. This shawl calls for each of these minis to be about 115 yards. And these are 100 yards. And so when I first cast this on, I thought, it's all right. It's not a big deal. I'm going to show you my cast on here in a few minutes, by the way. But I thought, anticipation. I thought, I'm going to be all right. You know, designers always, they overestimate what you're actually going to need. Plus, I tend to be a tight knitter anyway. It's going to be just fine. So then I started reading project notes from others who have knit this already. And even for those who had 115 yards per mini skein, still either played yarn chicken or just flat out did not have enough to finish this. So I'm going to run out of yarn. It's almost a guarantee. I may message Anne and see if she has any more of these laying around, because I know that Wall of Yarn is now her distributor, and I didn't see any transitional skein sets on their website. And I also didn't see these other colorways available. The only one I saw was the speckled neutral, which is called Chawton Cottage. So I could be in trouble with these. I'm showing you this, but I could be in trouble with these colors. Lettuce, I have oodles, so that's not a problem. So we'll go back to this. So this section is done in color A in my darker pink, my darker dusty rose color. This section here is stripes with the darker dusty pink and the main body color. And that's all that I need this color for until I get down here. Yeah, stripe section 5. And then I need this color for 2 more rows. But at that point, I will have over 400 yards or 400 stitches on the needles. And I really doubt that by the time I get to the end of this first section of knitting it, I really doubt that I'm going to have enough to be able to do 2 rows, let alone like accomplish this. I really doubt it. So I'm going to get in touch with Anne and see if by any chance she has any more of these particular sets laying around. If not, then what I think I'm going to do is for that final stripe section, I have a deep dark green sort of leftovers from something else that I will work in that I think will finish out this sort of transition here. It's Manderley is the name of the colorway. So we're gonna bridge all sorts of bits of literature here. But it's a nice dark green, and so if I need to, I have that at my disposal to finish out that stripe section. So mine's just gonna look a little different. It'll have another color in it. I'm not too worried about not having enough. The only part that I'm worried about is having enough to do this initial section and the stripes section, because as you can see, this little mini skein is starting to get, it's hollow. The center is, you can't see it, but it's hollow. So I hope that I have enough to get through what I absolutely need it for right now. And then we'll cross the other bridge when we get to it. So let me show you where I am up to. This is the coolest construction I have ever done on a shawl. I have technically not done the neck yet. I haven't reached the neckline yet. And if my stitches are looking a little wonky, it's because there's this lace in garter stitch. So it's going to depend on some serious blocking to get those holes to show up. Because, sorry, I know my needles keep bopping the table. So you can see that a little bit better, that there is a small lace motif sort of interspersed throughout this. So this point right here, which is where I cast on, is that there? Isn't that cool? I just think it's really cool. There's some other things that I have never done before with this. Each row starts with a yarn over, and I don't mean a knit one yarn over. I mean yarn over first and then continue on your merry way. So that took some learning on how to figure out how to do. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. The lace is charted. It's also written out, but I love me some lace charts. I don't know why, but maybe it's the cross stitch background, but I love the charts. And this is charted, and it's just, it's so much fun. So this yarn base is, it's a 2-ply, 100% superwash merino, and it's lovely. It's really warm in the hands. I find the more I knit with it, the softer it gets. It's lovely. And I love the colorway. I cannot wait to block this though, because it just makes my stitches look messy when really there's intention with that. So anyway, so there's that, and I'm digging it. I'm really excited. All the new things I'm learning with this one. So that is that. And I am knitting this on US size 4, 3.5 millimeter needles. So I have a few rows to go, and then I will get started on the stripe section. Oh, that reminds me. Okay, see this here? This is new. So let me talk about that next. I think that's all I have to say about High Sierra. I'm so excited about that. I'm going to keep working on that until I don't want to, and then we'll see. Do I want to cast on Slip Stravaganza? Absolutely. Absolutely I do. But I'm going to wait a little while because I don't have yarn for that, and I do. I could allocate the yarn that I have set aside for Exploration Station for Slip Stravaganza. Stephen West tongue ties. I could reallocate that yarn, but I want to see more of the new mystery before I commit to that. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Okay, so Progress Keeper, which I actually, when I attempted to film last week, this is as far as I was. So I need to move that up, and I'll do that. Anyway, so that is a recent acquisition, and I got that from a new yarn dyer, a new yarny business, and that is So Livy Dyes Yarn. So Livy, Savannah, is here on FlossTube, and in the recent couple of years, she started knitting, and now she has a yarn dyeing business, and so excited. And she launched on October 1st. Here's the website down below there. I will, of course, link it in the description box so you can get to it. The funny thing is, every time I look at this, I want to say that it's So Livid Yes Yarn. But it's So Livy Dyes Yarn. So she launched on October 1st, and that Progress Keeper is something that she's offering. So definitely check out the notions that she's got. She's got some pretty stuff in there. But we all know I went for yarn. And when Jen Spectacular Yarns launched hers a year ago or something, I went over there to pick stuff up, and I did the same for Savannah. I mean for me, but from Savannah. So this is what I picked up. And this gorgeousness is called the Olivia. So I guess that Savannah's daughter is going to be one of the ones who helps name her colorways, and she thought to turn her logo into yarn, that it would sort of be an homage back to Olivia. So that's what we have. And this is her sock base, which is a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and gorgeous, just gorgeous speckles all the way through. I have no idea what this will become when it grows up. Probably a shawl, because that's how I am sometimes. And I'm just so thrilled, so thrilled. Could I have spent a fortune? Yeah, I could have bought everything. But I thought, let's start off with a signature colorway. And Olivia signed it. Oh, can you see that? No, you can't see that. You can barely see it there. Olivia signed it. So this is the only one of its kind, so to speak. And I just thought that's really cool. So if Olivia ever gets famous, I've already got her signature. Just saying. Anyway, super cool. Very excited about that. So that's all I've got as far as yarn purchases are concerned. Yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying High Sierra. See, Romi lives near the Sierra Nevadas, so I get confused. But the name of the shawl is High Sierra. Anyway, I'm really digging that, and I'm just going to keep going on it until I don't want to anymore. Okay, I'm looking around and I don't see anything else that I need to be talking about, so I think that's probably my cue to finish it off here. Thank you all so very much for watching. Thank you for your continued support of me, my channel, and all of my crafty stuff. I wanted to do some shout outs today and I forgot because you guys were supposed to remind me to take notes and nobody reminded me. So I'll do shout outs next time. As far as when that is, who knows? We will see. So I'm going to head off here and get to editing and get back to stitching because I want to do some more on Poison Garden today. Everybody take care. Please keep wearing your mask. Please wear your mask, especially when out in public. Even when you're with family that you don't live with, just keep wearing your mask. I would like to think about the pandemic as a distant memory rather than a present, ever-present nightmare that we are just forced to live in. So if we could just keep wearing our masks, washing hands, keeping socially distant, at least until there is a vaccine that is safe and effective. Okay, enough of that. All right, everybody, take care. Happy stitching. As always, be kind. See you next time.